Okay, now what we're going to do is take a look at Agentcore evaluations. And before getting into what evaluators are, basically we're going to run this prerequisite project. And what this project does, here's a notebook. I just installed some software in it. I just installed something in my virtual environment. So that wasn't even needed. So if I come over here, I could see that I used an Agentcore Starter Toolkit, and I import the runtime. I'm importing a session object from Boto3 session. I'm importing UID and the time. Now, then I instantiate a Boto3 session. And I define the region name and I print out the region. So let's do this. Getting some warnings, which I'm going to ignore. I'm using Python 3.14. Sometimes I'll get these warnings, but if I'm not using the package, I'm not going to worry about it. Okay, so now I am using region West 2. Let's go down to this cell here and let's run this. Now this takes the Agentcore runtime and instantiates it to create a runtime. Then I have an agent name. I'm going to call this strands. Ew, I already just ran it. I'm going to change the name of this. I'm going to stop this. I'm going to change the name of this. Where was I? Here. I'm going to change it to strands 3. I created these agents. They're accumulating in my Amazon environment. And so I'm going to just change the name of it so I don't have any conflicts. I'm going to run this again. Agent will be stateless. All this information is printing out. Let's see what it says. I created a role, an execution policy, role created, role attached. Let me look up here for a minute. It created a new ECR repository. And the build started. So the only thing that's a little bit confusing about this is if you run the notebook and basically it creates the resources, there is usually a last cell which deletes resources. Sometimes it completely works, sometimes it doesn't. So I just make sure I have unique resource names and I run it again. Okay, so the strands agent is deployment started, and I have a green checkbox here, so I'm finished. Now let's go see what the status of this is. And the strands agent is ready. And this code here is just wait for deployment, and it looks at the status, and it just looks at the runtime status, blah, 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 deployment completed with this status. And it sleeps a little. Okay, now it creates a session ID using UUID. Let's see what this does. I created a session ID from my strands agent. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to invoke my strands agent, giving it a session ID. Now this this demo is supposed to use memory, but let's just see what happens if it prints us any information about the memory. So here, agent, I'm going to pass in this prompt, what is 2 plus 2? And I'm going to pass in the session ID. Okay, and it responds as 2 plus 2 is 4. Now what I'm looking for right now is that I point to an LLM already. In my notebook, I don't believe I did. Wait a minute, let me take a look at this. I have an entry point. Yeah, I did not point to anything yet. And I just invoked it. Let's see. Should I be confused at this point? No. Well, this it's logging my account, my role, other things. It puts something in the ECR repository, and it's running that with code build. It says agent will be stateless. At the moment, I'm a little bit confused. How it let's take a look at the code, the strands code. It had hard coded the anthropic in here. Yeah, so this didn't write the file, it already existed. That's why I'm a little bit confused. So this strands is already hard coded, and there's also a lane graph here. So we're going to run both of them, and yeah, we'll have two agents instantiate, and we'll evaluate them. Okay, so I ran this. Now it looks like it wants to calculate the weather now. The weather is currently sunny is the response. And then we invoke another, we give it another prompt and get a response. The capital of the United States is Washington, D.C., and it's located here, near the White House, whatever. Now, we have another agent we're going to create. I'm going to call this LangGraph3. And the entry point is eval agent LangGraph. Let's see if the strands had the same thing. No, it didn't. It just ran the tools. So this is creating an agent. It's configuring it with an entry point and an agent name. Let's run this. Okay, so what we did was it's using a Docker file to deploy the LangGraph, and it's given it all the arguments, the entry point, the requirements file, etc. And then it launches the runtime. Now, this doesn't come with any images, so I can't really I have to look at the code and figure out what the architecture is, but this did a runtime launch, and this is the runtime. Let me see the previous runtime invoke. Runtime invoke. Okay, so now let's see what we got here as far as output. The ECR repository was, the container was registered, the role got created, code build ran, the code pipeline ran, and observability is enabled, deploying the Bedrock Agentcore, and we have AI observability. We're told what the agent logs are, the tail logs, and LangGraph's agent deployed started. Okay, now let's look at the status. It's ready. Now we give we get the session ID. We print that out. Then we invoke 2 plus 2. The answer is 4. What is the weather? The weather is sunny. Can you tell me what the capital of US is? Okay, look like I got a similar answer. Now it's printing information, the launch results, and we have agent IDs. And let's see, we got agent ARNs, they should be different. Okay, now we store the launch results for both of them. Okay, so now what we're going to do, and let's go and we're finished with this demo because we just ran the prerequisites. We created 2 agents, we ran some things, and we saved some results. Okay, and if we look at the README file, it says it's creating sample agents. We're creating agents using 2 different frameworks to showcase the any framework proposition of Agentcore. One used the code interpreter, one used math calculations, stores the facts and preferences. This says it stores the facts and preferences in memory and retrieves the personalized responses. So I want to go and take a look at that. Both agents use Anthropic Claude. The architecture, let me see what happens with this. I don't know why it doesn't show it, but I think if we look over here, the image is somewhere. It's not in here. It's in some of these. Okay, it's using Python 3.10. We're using 3.14. That's why we got some warnings. What's next? We're going to use, now that you have all the required prerequisites, let's go through the individual evaluation tutorials. So now we're going to look at the next tutorials. And notice I created the agents and I saved the results. I didn't delete the agents as far as I know. So I have to make sure that that stuff doesn't stick around. Okay, so we're done with this prerequisites demo. Let's end the video and move on.